Hi guys, this is GSMDome and I'm here with the Huawei Nova 12 SE for a review. We're dealing with a mid-range phone with a 108 megapixel camera, a large OLED screen and a pretty generous battery with fast charge. The problems with the Google Play services and apps are gone, and now we can safely use the likes of Google Maps, Docs, YouTube, Gmail and so much more, courtesy of a solution called Micro G, which is automatically installed once you install one of the 30 trigger apps. More about that in the following minute. Let's start the review of this handset with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. First of all, the design. There's polycarbonate at the back. A polycarbonate frame measures around 7.4 millimeters in thickness and weighs a decent 186 grams. It's got a good looking camera protected by glass with an interesting, I would say, precious looking camera module. The buttons are placed in a pretty handy manner, but the device is quite, I would say, long and wide. Now at the same time it's quite grippy and pretty solidly built. No IP certification sadly, and the colors it's available in are black, green and also white. It doesn't gather fingerprints on the backside, and the screen has a pre-applied screen protector. Speaking of the screen, the panel you're seeing here is a 6.67 inch OLED, and it has a resolution of 2400 over 1080 pixels plus 90 Hz refresh rate. The bezels seem a bit narrower than the ones of the latest Galaxy A models, and it's time to put the screen to the test. Okay, so it looks something like this. By the way, YouTube works fine. We got bright and vivid colors here. Nice contrast even in the sun. Excellent blacks and whites. And wide view angles. So a satisfying screen experience, also rather immersive, and since it's flat it's also good for gaming, even though the CPU is not exactly tailored for gaming. And now let's see the results. When it comes to the lux meter test, we achieved 724 lux units, which is quite impressive, beating the likes of the Samsung Galaxy A35 and Moto G82. It's below the Honor Magic 5 Lite and the Redmi Note 12 4G. Now, speaking of CPU, you may have seen this processor before. So we're dealing with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 684G. I've seen it when the Huawei Nova 10 SE and a few other handsets like the Redmi Note 11 and so many more. It's accompanied by quite a generous amount of RAM, 8 gigs and 256 gigabytes of storage. The phone doesn't suffer from lag, nor does it have a micro SD card slot, and it doesn't lose that much performance when it comes to the throttle test. We actually did a throttle test here, and you can definitely check it out for yourself. It only loses 5% performance throughout the 15 minutes throttle test. Sadly, the benchmarks are a bit underwhelming, so if you go here, you're going to notice that they're quite low. When it comes to Antutu 10, we're at the bottom of the placement, below the OnePlus 12 by, I would say, quite a bit. And then when it comes to Antutu 9, here we are in Antutu 9, above the Huawei Nova Y70 and the Nokia G82, but at the same time we're below the likes of, well, let's see, Redmi Note 11, Moto G23 and Realme C55. When it comes to Geekbench 6, we're at the bottom of the single core test and at the bottom of the multi-core test, even below the Moto G14 and the G23. The GPU test shows us above Moto G54, which was a battery phone, and above the Nokia G22. In 3D Mark, we're around the G series, the Moto G series, in the lower part of the, well, series. And here we're just above a Yumi Super plus this one 3D Mark screenshot. We're barely beating older phones like Galaxy A50 and the Redmi Note 7. So not very impressive benchmarks, I have to say, but in real life the functioning is quite fine. I didn't exactly notice any lag or stutter. When it comes to the temperature test, in benchmarks we achieved 31 degrees Celsius, which is definitely no overheating. Now the battery is a 4500 mAh unit with fast 66 watt charging. On paper you're promised to reach 100% in 32 minutes. There is even reverse charging, so you can turn this into a sort of power bank. Now when it comes to the video playback, 19 hours and 7 minutes is what we achieved, which is a quite excellent result for a mid-range phone. It beats the Moto G54 Power, which is a battery phone, and even the OnePlus Nord 3. We're placed below the Redmi Note 11 and the Motorola Edge 40, while in continuous use, a satisfying 13 hours and 56 minutes. This is actually good, above the Samsung Galaxy A35, above the Realme C55, but below the Moto G84 and the Honor Magic 5 Lite. The charging was quite solid. You just need 40 minutes to top up from 0 to 100%, and after 15 minutes you're at 45%. And now we can talk about acoustics. Okay, so as far as acoustics are concerned, we have a singular speaker at the bottom. You can see it here. We don't have a stereo setup, and we also don't have an audio jack. Now the experience goes something like this. Okay, so a bunch of impressions. The bass is satisfying, the high notes not so much, the volume is not very loud, but at least there's no distortion at maximum volume. Now, if you want to see what our decibel meter has shown, we got it here. So we achieved 89.4 decibels with an acoustic sample. This was achieved at the bottom of the device, obviously, and this means that we're above the Honor Magic 6 Lite and the Nokia X30, but below the Poco X3 and the Realme C55. In games, sadly, only 87.9 decibels. Usually we require something like 100 to be satisfied. Well, it may be above the Galaxy A35 and the HUAWEI Nova 11 Pro, but it's below the Motorola Moto G73 and the Poco M4 Pro. So yeah, there you have it. Now when it comes to the camera setup, the device here provides a 32 megapixel shooter at the front with Full HD capture, while at the backside there's a triple camera setup. The star of the show is the 108 megapixel camera, not very much change from the days of the Huawei Nova 10 SE, f1.9 aperture and face detection autofocus. We have an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera, so this is the setup. This is the dual LED dual tone flash. We're only stuck with Full HD capture and not even Full HD 60 frames, just Full HD 30 frames per second. Okay, and let's see the gallery we've taken with this handset. Okay, so we have no less than 195 photos during the day and during the night. Let's take them one by one. Okay, so first things first, I would have to say that it was a pretty sunny day, which alternated with periods of clouds. This is a main camera shot, and I find that the details are not very satisfying in the tree area because the pixels are combined from 108 megapixels to take 12 megapixel shots. And finally, an ultra-wide camera with, I would say, satisfying details and colors. That's a pleasant surprise. The zoom is okay up to 2x. Even after 2x, you're going to notice some grain, and a lot of grain at 8x. The whites are, I would say, too pure, too bright on the main camera, and once again the colors surprise me on the ultra-wide camera, which traditionally fails. As you can see here, there is overexposure in the full sunlight of the vegetation, but once again the ultra-wide seems to deliver somehow. Okay, selfies are fine and all, but I would say that the backgrounds are very poor in details and I would say exaggeratedly exposed. When you're taking selfies in the shadow, things are more satisfying. One of the strong suits of the phone is definitely the close-up capture of flowers, food and whatnot objects. These are actually macro captures, these ones, low resolution but still pretty solid. I would actually prefer the close-ups to the macros if I'm being completely honest. Okay, even more selfies, this time in a bit more shade. I actually like this more. There's plenty of detail here for the skin tone, for the pores, for the eyes, and here you can see some nifty colors with this fake ice cream. So when it comes to color calibration, I'm happy with the reds, the blues, etc. But the vegetation once again doesn't impress me that much when there's sun. Tendency to overexpose. Okay, going further than that, once again excellent focus of objects in close-ups and also excellent blur of the background for aperture shots. Not portrait, but aperture. Portrait was applied here. Quite satisfying manner, even though the background was too lit. And if you're into flowers and vegetation and food, you'll be happy with the close-ups again and again and again. These are some of the best selfies I've taken, where the sun was in front of me and there was darkness behind me, but once again the backgrounds are not very detailed compared to my expectations. Okay, other colorful shots here. So if you stay away from the sun and stay in the shade more, you'll be happy with the color calibration and even the details at 12 megapixel. These are attempts at capturing a tree moss with macro. Quite a few of them have failed, but after 5 photos you may get a decent one. This has been data capture, and my impression is that we're closer to a Galaxy A20 series phone than an A30 or A50 series. Low light bears only one conclusion: you should definitely try and stick to the night mode. If you don't take photos with the night mode, you'll be underwhelmed. So this bike here cannot be exactly be posted on social media, but this one here can. Everything is better captured. So yeah, There's a tendency to, I would say, make the image too bright, but somehow the night mode equalizes everything, including reflections. So we have this one here, and then this one here. So definitely night mode is fine. I wouldn't exactly go ahead and use the ultra wide, which is a bit underwhelming. So this is a regular shot, this is the ultra wide shot. You can see that there's a lot of grain, the lights are deformed, and other things like that. Selfies are decent because there's a special mode which lights up the screen, acting like a flash, and things will get quite fine in, well, lighter areas. Okay, even more shots. We have this one here, we have this one which is the night mode one, and this one which is the ultra wide. This one is actually not bad, but you can see that it's an exaggerated halo for the cross of the pharmacy. And here things are a bit more clear and detailed. So once again, only with the night mode they're passable enough to post on social media. Aside from that, well, some streetlight halos are too big and need to be corrected by this night mode. Okay, everything here has been photo based. Let's see some videos. We have a dedicated department. Things that interest us as usual are focus. So here we have a focus test alternating between the foreground and the background. The precision is there. I would say it's a bit slow to focus, but if you can forgive that, the precision of the focus is fine. I also tested the stabilization, which by the way is obviously not optical here. And this is it, just descending a set of stairs. Frankly, a bit underwhelmed here. You can see that there's a lot of trepidation and vibration of the image. You can feel my every step. And each time I descend a step, the image tends to vibrate a bit. On this small screen, you may find it okay, but if you're watching it on a big screen, you can see some trepidation here and there. The colors are also a bit underwhelming if you ask me. I mean, those in the shade are fine. The same problem we had with the photos. When things are too brightly lit, there's a bit of overexposure and color deformation, but all in all, I would say it's fine. What's not fine exactly is the level of detail for this ultra-wide capture, and also something I experienced here, a weird color flaring around the objects, I would say. So the color basically tends to bleed around the object a bit. If you would watch this on a larger screen, you'll see what I mean. And obviously, the zoom has a strange step, 1x, 2x, and then straight to 8x. I don't know why Huawei did that. They should have maybe put 5x. Or something more modest. Okay, so that's the filming. I also have a selfie video. The background is a bit soft for me and the stabilization is not good, but the face texture is actually quite decent. I find the video to be choppy, by the way, this one, the way it's shown here for some reason. And the low light has limitations, obviously. You can see that the street lights are exaggerated. You can also see that there's a lot of grain and noise in the tree area. There's a lot of reflections, so yeah, definitely limited. When I actually am watching this, I am actually reminded by a Redmi Note series phone, but one without a Pro in the name. So the basic Redmi Note, which is much cheaper than this phone. Okay, that's everything I had to say about the camera department. I have to say things haven't evolved that much from the Nova 10 SE. And when it comes to connectivity, obviously we don't have 5G, we just have 4G, but the device also provides you with Wi-Fi dual band, there's NFC, and it actually works for payments, Bluetooth 5.0, there's GPS and USB-C 2.0. Infrared would have been nice at the top, we don't have it. The calls are loud and clear, and let's see a bunch of speed tests now. Okay, so we go here to the screenshots, and these are my speed tests. And we achieve something like 54.2 megapsecond downloads in 4G, 60.5 megapsecond uploads. When it comes to Wi-Fi, 270 megapsecond downloads, 332 megapsecond uploads. And now let's talk about software. Now, as far as the software is concerned, this is Emotion UI 14, and according to the IDA app, it's applied on top of Android 12, which is worrisome. I expected at least Android 13. Well, it may be wrong. Okay, so what's new here? Basically the same interface we saw on the previous Nova models. We have the Today area here with a bunch of widgets, shortcuts and news. I'm definitely using gestures to navigate here. And of course there's a recents here for your multitasking needs. And for multitasking as well, we have this bar here which opens up floating apps. Swipe down and you're treated to the quick settings area, or the control panel as they call it. And we have here the super device to interconnect other Huawei devices. Swipe down from here and you'll get your notifications. Now, aside from that, What else we have here? So the fingerprint scanner is in the power button and it's synced to my finger. It's quite fast to unlock the device and I would say moderately accurate. Sometimes it misses. Okay, you can see here the service widgets. Some of them are bigger and some of them are widget combos. You can actually concentrate multiple widgets into one card, so to say. So yeah, that's it. And when it comes to the settings, we have the super device thing, which lets you interconnect tablets, laptops, headphones with your Nova. We have the customization of the interface with always on display, wallpaper, magazine unlock, and icons. We have quite a few security features. I'm talking about security here with app lock, password vault, file safe, find device, plus privacy, the privacy area where you can see your permissions, and image privacy. You can actually remove private info like your ID card, things like that, and block clipboard access. Now, if you're wondering, we have the Huawei app gallery here with 200,000 apps available, and there's an extra thing. If you install one of the 30 apps here, like YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, and so forth, its installation triggers something called micro G. And thanks to micro G, you'll have everything synced up to your account. So once I install YouTube here, I'm going to have all my playlists, preferences, and account. You can see my account here. You can see my searches here. And you can also see my subscriptions and playlists here as well. So yeah. And once one account is connected, one Google account is connected, I'm going to have the same thing for Gmail. So my own Gmail is here and it's available like this. And I don't have to log into it. The notifications are real time. You can see your bookmarks in Chrome again. You can work with your friends in Google Slides and Docs. You can also sync your Google Photos account with the same account. And there's an extra thing here. Now, if you go into the other solution, with the one called Gbox, if you go here, you're going to have some sort of portal to the Google Play Store, so you can download apps you wouldn't be able to do traditionally. So you're going to find something like Uber, Netflix here. You're going to find stores like Fashion Days, things like that, and even some games, and of course payment solutions and browsers and so much more. So yeah, one way to access the Play Store from here, and the micro G to have your Google Play services and apps available. That's quite nice. Now, aside from that, well, I think that's everything worth mentioning here. Some pre-installed apps are available. You have your Huawei Books, Music, Video, Game Center, Huawei Health, of course, Petal Maps, the Teams. There's this productivity area here, the optimizer, the files, the wallet, the Petal Clip, which is a bit like wannabe CapCut. Here we have the tools and the productivity apps. We have Bing, which by the way lets you trigger ChatGPT, and also Microsoft 365 for productivity. And now we have reached the end of the review, where you can find the pros and cons for the Huawei Nova 12 SE. So on the pro side, no lag whatsoever, pretty good battery life. Now we have micro G to play with your Google services and Google apps, excellent close-ups and night mode captures, solid build, a very bright screen if I'm being completely honest, and I would say that the colors surprised me for the ultra-wide camera capture. On the cons side, well, I would say that the CPU is a bit old. We don't have IP certification and micro SD or 5G. I expected more from the bokeh and selfie capture in general, and the videos were a bit underwhelming color-wise and night-wise. Now, aside from that, I would say that the price makes it fight Galaxy A35 and A55. In fact, it should be fighting the A25 and the Redmi Note 13. That's its area. The phone should be priced closer to 200 euros rather than 350 euros. That's the problem, the price. Aside from that, it's a media consumption, not creation phone. I mean, it's very good for using Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, and so forth. It has a long battery life, a pretty decent CPU, but the camera, well, I think there are better cameras on the market at similar prices. That's what I can say. I mean, it's good for ultra-wide close-ups and night mode captures, and the selfies are fine, but the fact that you don't have a solid bokeh here and 4K capture may worry you. So the answer, if you're going to buy this or not, depends on whether you are a content creator or not, even a minor one. You may want more from the device. If you're not a content creator and you're just a content consumer and a reliable phone with a large battery life, this may be it for you. Now with Google services and all that, courtesy of micro G. That's it from us. Goodbye.